So Autodesk is a design software company. We're about 25 years old. Most people know us by our flagship product called AutoCAD, but we actually have 80 different products that serve the architecture, engineering, construction, media and entertainment, and manufacturing industries. We also have products in the geospatial as well as transportation areas. So as you can imagine, as the market leader, almost everything you interact with on a day-to-day basis at some point in its life cycle has been touched by our software. So you can imagine the value proposition in terms of sustainability really is to tackle the environmental footprint of that product, of that automobile, of that building, of that bridge, long before it becomes real. To simulate it, to visualize it, to tweak it, and to make the environmental implications and cost savings of those decisions apparent to the user. So our company has a greenhouse gas management program, which really, as a software company, we recognize will not be the game changer in terms of addressing the magnitude of the climate challenge. We're a relatively carbon light company. However, we also see this as a huge top-line growth opportunity in terms of selling sustainable design solutions to designers and architects and engineers. So in order to win their trust and the credibility in the marketplace to sell those solutions, we feel we need to use our own operations really as a living laboratory, if you will, and to take a leadership role in areas like carbon accounting, in areas like developing climate stabilizing greenhouse gas targets, in areas like our data center management or our facilities design and certifying it via the local green building certification programs. So there's a cost-saving benefit on the operational side, and then we see that as translating directly to a top-line growth benefit on the sales side. So in an effort to take a leadership position on carbon accounting, which is really an emergent area, but one in which we feel we have some expertise, both as a result of what our tools allow designers and architects to do with their buildings, carbon footprint, their building specifications, for example. We feel that we have some expertise to bear here and share with other companies that perhaps are coming up the learning curve or honestly are just more carbon intensive than we are and so haven't had the chance to really experiment on this. So we feel good about the fact that over the past year, between our first and our second carbon footprint, we were able to hold our absolute emissions essentially constant. And that's with the major caveat that the vast majority of our emissions are indirect. So we only are able to influence, but not control, the emissions reductions there. And at the same time, we were able to reduce the CO2 per employee by 9%, the CO2 per square foot by 19%, and the CO2 per dollar revenue by 5%. Now, why was that? Because we did a materiality assessment, we identified which were the biggest footprint areas, and which were the ones with the most attractive payback from a financial standpoint. So we tackled the parts of the footprint that matter. And those for us were business travel, which is a major operational expense for us as a global company with customers all over the world. And we were able we kind of surprised ourselves. We were able to cut travel by 50% through scrutiny of travel policies and travel choices, through some major investments in virtual collaboration tools. For example, we now have 14 telepresence systems around the world. We invested in dozens of roundtable systems, which are kind of a mid-tier solution. And then every employee now has access to a desktop video conferencing system and a webcam. So why travel when you can use these virtual collaboration tools? It also helped us in terms of wear and tear on employees. A second area we looked at, which has direct relationship to many of our major customers in the architecture and construction space, were our facilities. Now, we lease almost all of our facilities. However, we were able to sit down with our landlords and say, look, this is a really important credibility play for us, but also we want to save on our monthly rent. And so we were able to build out LEED certified, and in some cases platinum LEED certified buildings in 7 different areas using all of our software tools in the process. We did an audit with the help of Jones Lang LaSalle of our 13 biggest facilities and have been investing in the projects they recommended to us in energy efficiency. And then we're piloting alternative officing programs that allow our employees more flexibility in their workday and that minimize the number of the CO2 per square foot by making the workspace itself more flexible. And our hypothesis there is not only will that lead to significant increase in the credibility with our customers in terms of the green buildings that we model, but it will also reduce our facility costs in terms of energy and improve employee recruitment and talent acquisition because of this flexible workplace. Thirdly, we actually also include in our footprint our major events. So if one of our customers flies halfway around the world to come to a conference that we're hosting, we take responsibility for their emissions. Now, right now, what we're experimenting with is launching virtual alternatives to those conferences so that they can join just from their desktop. And we've also been working with the venues, the hotels and conference centers that host on our behalf. We talk directly to the engineering teams there about improving the energy efficiency of those spaces. And just over the past year, we've actually seen significant improvement there. And then lastly, we've looked at IT, which is very much an enabling area in terms of greenhouse gas reductions. And we've rolled out this year a company-wide PC energy management system. So that dramatically, we estimate roughly 30% reduces the average energy use of a desktop by one of our software engineers or an administrative person. And we've also virtualized the majority of our data servers by working with the vendors. We don't own our data centers, but by working with the vendors to specify exactly what we're looking for. That's led to greater resilience in our IT systems, and as a software company, that's essential. But interestingly, it's also helped us adapt to technological disruption like cloud computing, which we clearly want to take a lead position on. So there are all of these corollary benefits beyond just the obvious operational benefits.